Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to episode 399.7 and a half of the Wishful Podcast. Before we begin, this is like the prelude intro. Just go with me on it. I hope y'all like. I got a shark shirt on. I have to stand up a little bit. Don't ask. I hope you like it. Just random, yeah. Don't shoot me. Shoot the person who made. You know what? Never mind. Anyway, today we're going to be talking with Mr. Huntor. Ha! That rhymed. Yep. Let me write that down.
Yep. Bars.
So, damn, my questions done failed. Horrible. Here we go. Nope, that's not you. I'm losing subscribers by the second. Here we go. These are yours. So I use these. What are these? It's 5x7 index cards. Yeah, and they fell off. So, without further ado, you know what? I'm gonna start with this because I interviewed somebody else and I didn't give him the proper chance for him to give himself a plug. So before I say anything else, go ahead. How can people find you? We gonna do this more than once.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, what's going on, people? My name is my stage name is Huntor. I'm a spoken word artist, MC, hip hop artist out of Ohio. I'm currently in Toledo, Ohio. If you want to find me, you can literally find me anywhere. You just Google my name, Huntor, Huntorprey, and you will find some work that I've done. You will find me on YouTube. You will find me on Tidal, Spotify, Apple, anywhere where they stream music, pretty much you'll find me. Also, like I said, in the meantime, I know I've been doing stuff locally here, and as well, my day job is in mental health. So
okay. Well, you just answered the first two questions for me. I didn't even have to. Because I was gonna address it differently. I was gonna say, what does Hunt do? So that's
what does Hunter do?
Yeah, I it's a reason I said it like that. But yeah.
No, for sure.
You just said mental health.
Yeah, so, I was like for sure because at the end of the day, especially for like any artist or individual independent artists or anything else like that, this is gonna sound nerdy, but it tends to kind of have like a alter ego type vibe. I was like, there's Huntor. That's my stage name. That's usually how I greet with people. And then there's Hunter, like the actual person that helps guide Huntor and all the stuff that he does, like on stage and everything else. So, like I said, nighttime, my little like HY Huntor symbol pops up. You know what I'm saying? I show up, handle my biz, do my thing and everything else. I was like, but during the day, I work in mental health. I work on the crisis stabilization unit, working with mental health issues, substance abuse issues, things like that.
Okay. I wasn't gonna go too much into personals, nothing like that, because we know why you've been.
Some people will stalk you up.
Enough. Yeah, but I mean, I've met you. I'm pretty sure you don't have no problems with that. Yeah. Leave that one alone.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. But I know sometimes, depending on what I'm saying, especially in this climate, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if some people would try.
So, with our first question, where
Yeah.
does your name come from? Your first name.
Which one?
Do you have
You
another
talk
first
about
name I
Hunter.
don't know
You talk
about?
about Hunter Prey or just Hunter?
Yes, not the we not talking about prey yet. That's why I
Okay,
said I was
Hunter.
gonna
Got
address
you.
you as
Okay, got you.
Hunt. Hunt is
Got you.
the
Okay,
not the artist.
the guy. Okay, cool. Okay, so I
Yeah.
can tell you. I can tell you the story about that. Don't know if it's true or not, but it's the story my mother tells me. So, evidently, the reason why my name Hunter came to be was because she didn't necessarily know what it was that she wanted to name me, but she knew my father didn't want a junior because my father was like, he should have his own name, his own thing, things like that. At the
Identity.
time, my parents were living outside of Washington D.C., so they were in the D.C. area, and my mother did have a friend who stayed down the hallway of like their apartment, and she was actually from, England, like Great Britain and everything else. And they thought up a name, and she thought, asked, well, what about Hunter? They said Hunter, and then my middle name, and then, my last name. And my mother really, really liked how that rolled off the tongue. Like, it was different, it was cool. There, especially back then, there weren't too many, and even now, there weren't too many black hunters. So that happened, and then I was born, and she named me Hunter. Now, the interesting thing that makes it cool is the fact that the doctor who birthed me, she only knew him, I guess, by his first initial and his last name. Now, this is what I was told. Because his first initial was H. Dot, I forget the last name. But what I'm told is that she finds out that his name happened to be Hunter.
Okay.
And she finds out after the fact, after the naming, all that good stuff. So that's the interesting story around at least where my name and how my name came about. At least from what the older generation tells me, because I was too young to remember.
Well, how old are you now?
I just turned 4-4.
Okay. So you older
It's
than me
okay.
by 1 year. Yeah.
It's okay. Like, for all intents and purposes, for anybody who's met me or been around me or anything else, I have been perpetually 27 to 30 for at least 10 years.
Hmm.
Nobody ever knows for sure. And this is just me being honest on that.
Okay. So my wistful podcast people, I've said my age. I'm 43. Clearly, I show it. My light is there, so it's not directly in front of me, but it's a lot of gray here, and it's up here.
Yeah.
You can't see it again because of the light.
I'm just starting to get some
Unacceptable.
little here and here.
Unacceptable. you yeah. It's okay. I it ain't nothing.
That's cool.
Were you raised with your brothers? Wait. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes. I have one older sister, and I have 2 younger brothers.
Were you raised with them?
Um, I wasn't raised with my older sister. Like I said, my older sister was in Pennsylvania while I was in Ohio, and my two younger brothers were adopted, like by my mother. So I was around. I think I was around 12, 13, around that time.
Oh yeah, you was you. Okay. Yeah, I thought you was gonna see
Yeah.
something young.
Mm-mm.
Um, let's see. I can ask that one. So, what were your? Do you have any? Did you have any childhood hobbies?
Hobbies?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, come junior high and everything else, there were certain things I used to do. I would write. I like writing stories or things like that. I would draw, for sure. Um, I used to like to sing a lot, but um, voice changes and everything else. I mean, I can kind of carry a tune, but I'd have to go back into practice, like for real practice. But what else? Oh, and then later on in high school, things like that, I kind of got into this little game called Warhammer 40K.
That came out back then. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a board game.
I know what it
It's
is.
kinda
I
like
didn't know it was
yeah,
back then.
make your own army and all the other good stuff. So for anybody's watching who I was like you, who kind of had like that little like nerd streak for Warhammer 40K, I was a Blood Angels person. So and and my affinity for I mean, it got better like later on, but I used to like to collect pocket watches, and I was like in high school I was like real big on like swords and things. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was during that time, I think for my birthday one time, my mother had got me a katana, and it was the Highlander sword. So if anybody remembers like the Highlander sword, especially the one on TV, it had like this ivory handle, and it had like a dragon's head at the end and all that. So I was interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I was interesting. I mean, I had like some of the regular stuff, basketball cards, all that goodness. But no, I was like, there was a lot of different like things that I was like into. So
So this was high school.
oh yeah,
Junior high school.
I kind of gave you like kind of like a general view. I was like from younger like all the way kind of like up. But yeah, like high school, as far as like, okay, I will say this for anybody's watching. All the sharp stuff, high school. So I was like, so swords or anything else like that, you know what I'm saying? Like high school, the Warhammer stuff, all that good, just kind of building those things like high school. But as far as like writing, drawing, all those different things, that was like way earlier. That was like way earlier than that. So
So, in high school, were you popular and liked?
so high school. High school was interesting because I went to a pretty much predominantly black high school. Thousands of kids at the time, maybe no more than 5 kids that may have been non-African American. And was I like popular? I wouldn't say I was. Like, people knew me, but then there were certain things that I knew that I did that was like very, very different for my time. Because again, like I said, it was like I like different stuff, and there were things that I like to do and I like to combine. If I were to give an example, back in the day, there was you had like East Coast rap, you had West Coast rap, all that other good stuff. Well, I know like on the East Coast side of things, folks used to wear kind of like a lot of like army stuff, like, but and I mean like real looking army stuff, like not like the super bright like No Limit style, what I'm saying, army stuff where it's like, nah, this look like, these been worn, it's been used. That was kind of like a style, what I'm saying, with Timberlands and everything else and all that for New York. And what I'm saying, I tend to like the music and all the other good stuff and those things. So I used to wear fatigues, what I'm saying, a lot. But I had decided in my head then that I would wear more than one style. So sometimes you see folks, they have the regular green ones. Sometimes you see them, they'd have like the gray ones with like the gray patch. Well, what I'm saying, there's this spot up here called Woodville Surplus that kind of sold like actual like army wear, or actual kind of like military wear. And they had the green ones, the white and gray ones, the blue ones, the Desert Storm ones, the maroon, black and gray and white ones, the gray tiger stripe, the blue tiger stripe, the regular khaki ones, the midnight all black ones. And I just said, yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna get all of them. So, yes. Yeah, I said yes. I was like, so I'm gonna get all of them. So, what I'm saying, every now and then, depending on the situation, I would I would do my little like fatigue week thing, and I would just wear fatigues, different style fatigues for like the whole week. Also, that I also had another thing which was definitely weird back then. Not so much now, or like even in like the early 2000s, but in the 90s, yeah, it just wasn't a scene thing. I used to like wallet chains. So at my school and everything else, I'll wear wallet chains. I also had kind of like the leather bracelets, like with the like studs and things. And one of the reasons why I did that, again, it was kind of a combination of two things. Number one, because I was a music person and I genuinely loved like hip hop and everything else, I wanted to kind of represent or kind of take on different things that I saw both past and present. So it's like in the present, I'm seeing the fatigues, I'm seeing all that good stuff. I'm even seeing kind of like the beginning of kind of like the Black Thought Philadelphia neo soul type thing with all the fall colors and whatnot. But back in the day, there was still, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You know what I'm saying? Melly Mel and all them. And the way they dressed almost like punk rockers. They were just rapping. You know what I'm saying? They had like the, like the leather bracelets and the spikes and all that other good stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Rock star type stuff. So that influence, and I won't lie, I did and in a way still do have a little bit of goth in me. I won't front. I do, even though it doesn't show, I do. And there was this one movie that I saw when I was young, called The Crow. And that particular movie, and kind of like the music taste, kind of like shaped a lot of my high school stuff as well as hip hop. So I was trying to combine and merge all these things together into, stuff that I liked. And to be honest with you, like, back in the day, it's like, you weren't, like, at my school, it wasn't normal to see, like, a kid, like, like a kid like me with, like, a duster or, like, a black duster or whatnot. Or, to kind of have, like, the wallet chains or the spikes or anything else like that. It was kind of like, yo, like, yeah, it's like, this is different. What are you doing? Like, this is different. And, so, yeah, I was like, it was interesting. I had my moments where there was definitely some teasing going on, but then I also had my moments where I would do something, like the fatigue week or whatnot, and the next thing you know, a third of the school got on some type of fatigues or camouflage of some sort. I was like, so yeah, it was it was cool. But as far as to answer your question as to whether or not I was popular, I'd venture to say no. But there were people who knew who I was.
Okay.
Also, quick aside, interesting thing that I found out. So, ironically enough, and I only realized this a year or two ago when, my wife hadn't watched The Crow. So, we watched it. She watched it for like the first time. And she knows that I like, swords and things like that. Swords and knives and all the good stuff. And that I had, like, like my long coats and everything else that kind of like in my closet now. It's kind of like relics and all that. And, I got locks. My hair is pretty long and everything else, yada, yada. And then, interestingly enough, there's this one character in The Crow. I think he was one of the bad guys, though. The guy's name, I think, was Tintin. The movie's supposed to be set in Detroit. And he goes by Tintin. And ironically enough, he got long hair, wears a long black coat, and like knives.
I'm looking at it now, but go ahead.
Yeah, and like knives. And, in that moment, I was kind of like, a realization hit, like, oh, snap. I think there was an interesting influence there.
Let me see if I can find a picture. I found the guy. I'm not gonna do that because that's gonna be me holding up my phone like that's I know how I
Yeah,
am.
nah, don't do that. Yeah, I was like, don't do that. But I was like, but there's been other moments where that whole thing, that whole vibe popped up, especially once I start to get compared to different other celebs and everything else.
In high school, because you mentioned you didn't say
Yeah,
teased or picked on or anything. Were you? Because
yeah.
again, wistful podcast people. I know him. I know what he looks like now. I got
Hmm.
pictures of us in high school. Were you the
Yeah.
same build size as you are now?
Um, Pretty much. Like I wasn't. Like I said, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so again. It was like you know what I'm saying? Heavier set, all that good stuff. Um, as far as the teasing, I think where a lot of it came from, for the most part, I was in honors classes. So a lot of my classes, especially when I was a freshman or so, I was in classes with like older classmen. So there might have been a moment where I was like the only freshman in there. And I was like, and that was yeah, I was like that was intimidating, to say the least. I was like, to say the least. I was like, cause wasn't like at the time I wasn't really used to that. But nah, I was like, other than that, man, I was on some yeah, I was like, my thought process was a little different back then. Well, it's kind of always been different. It's kind of always been different. It's like how do I put it? How do I put it? Real. I guess you could say real things, simply because of how I was like raised and everything else. You know, like I would be I remember one time in my sophomore year in English class, we had this English teacher, and the class was just eating her alive, bro. Like just eating her alive. Like it just didn't matter. Like she just could not get a hold of us. You know what I'm saying? And this was like the honors class kids. And I remember I came to her and I said, "Yo," I said, "How about we do this?" You know, and I said, "Hey, like, I know you're teaching us about Robert Frost and all these other different like literary people, which is cool." I was like, "But, you know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily relate to that. Maybe you can teach us like how to, you know, how to use English to write a resume, or you know what I'm saying, how to do job interviews, those different things that we'll definitively need, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She
Who is
called
Robert
my
Frost?
house. He's a poet.
Oh, go ahead. You can answer that one after. My bad.
Yeah. Nah, I was like, she called my house. Talked to my mother. Because since I said that, she assumed that maybe something was wrong. Like maybe, you know what I'm saying? Do we need help? You know what I'm saying? Am I trying to like, you know, look to like get a job, you know, to like help out or anything else? Like all those different things. And the answer was no. None of that. I was just trying to help her relate to the kids that we had. You know what I'm saying? So
Was she
I
black or
had,
white?
bro.
Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
I'll say it. She wasn't black,
Clear.
and she wasn't black, and from her background, she hadn't necessarily like lived like within like the city. So she was essentially suburban too.
Okay. So, who was Robert Frost? Who is or was?
Oh, he was a writer, like poet. Like they tend, like his work, they tend to go to a lot, like in like high schools or things like that when we're talking about English stuff like that. I was like, so yeah, I was like, that's basically it. I was like, that's basically it. I was like, but I remembered that moment clearly because I was like, we had that, and that was kind of like what she was doing. Just like I remember later on, like in my years, I had another English teacher, and she didn't touch like Robert Frost at all. She was touching like Ralph Ellison with Langston Hughes, pretty much more of the black poets and authors, things like that.
I dropped my phone. I hit my foot too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering what happened. I was like, you just
I got a lot.
leaned over and dipped for a second.
I have you. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. I have the paper, and I have these. These are like the final. This is the final draft question, but there's still some on the loose leaf paper. It's not loose leaf, but on the paper. That's kind of why you see me, and I'm writing stuff down as you speak as well. So I don't ever want you to think that I'm not paying attention to you, or you on the phone like nah.
Oh no, you
like
good
at all.
I was like, you good, man. I was like, you good. You
So,
good, but
super simple question. In high school, because you said a lot. In high school, would you say that this was the beginning of Hunter Prey?
I would actually say it began earlier than that.
Okay.
I would actually say it began in middle school. That's what they call it now, right? Middle school, not junior high. Middle school, right?
6th,
like
7th, 8th grade. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, so no, like during my 7th and 8th grade, I had kind of gotten more interested in writing. And it's like, yeah, there were a couple of things that were happening around then, you know what I'm saying? Got interested in writing, you know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying, around that time is usually the beginning of your formative years. I was like, so you end up having crushes and everything and all that good stuff. It's like, all right, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write about it, all that good stuff. I was like, but more importantly, other than that, my mother had seen some of the stuff that I was writing, and it wasn't just about liking somebody or anything else. It was some genuine life stuff or things like that. So what she did was she took me to a club one night, and it was this bar club that actually wasn't too far from my high school. It was down the street. It was called the Bop Club, but before that it was called the Fifth Quarter. So Bop Club, fifth quarter. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Grown folks. But I guess evidently, she had a friend there. I'll always big up her no matter what, especially for everything that she's done for the arts community in Toledo. But by the name of Dr. Imelda Hunt. My mother knew Dr. Hunt. She used to do like her nails, you know, back in ages ago. You know, my mother was like a nail technician, really, really good one too. But she knew about this open mic, so she took me there. And she had me read my work there. I believe that was my 8th grade year? I think that might have been my 8th grade. It was like it's kind of, yeah, I believe that was my 8th grade year. And it was interesting because I was the only kid in there. Number one, and I was there amongst all of these grown people who were like doing their works or reading their works. One of them had happened to be my English teacher that I didn't know was going to be there, but she was there. And I got up, I did my work. I remember I did 2 pieces. I don't remember these pieces, but I remember the names of these pieces. I remember I did one piece called Crying Rain in Trying Times, and I did one piece called Life Is. And they really, really supported me. You know, there was this one poet by the name of Melvin Douglas, you know, who was known around here and whatnot. He was really like, yeah, he was like, you know, I'm gonna look forward to your book one day, or I'm gonna look forward to this, I'm gonna look forward to that. And I was like, okay, here I am, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm basically a kid, but I'm on this stage and I'm able to either write or at least, you know, hold my own with these people who are grown, who write, who do this. Yeah. And beforehand, the most that I had done for that was like you know, plays, things like that. When I was in grade school, I used to do like a lot of plays and all other good stuff. Like, now that I'm talking about it, I'm kind of realizing how much of a theater kid I was, but I wasn't in theater like at all. So I'm like, so yeah, I was like, other than that, that's basically where it was. And that started with the writing, because before that, if I was put on stage, it was to be reciting something, whether, like I said, whether it was doing a play or you know, Bible verses or something.
So, where's my questions? Because that was like that question I asked you, the origins of Hunter Prey. Yeah, that was a further along question. But since you went into it, you already answered it. Where is it? Here it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's cool. However you want to do it, we can bounce around. That's kind of how my brain works anyway. We can bounce around.
You gonna make my editing process very hard, but it's okay. So, you said about 8th grade, and I know. So again, Wishful Podcast people, I'm from the South, born and raised New Orleans. Yeah. He mentioned Washington D.C., and back to Ohio, which it's not the it's East Coast and Midwest.
Right.
But the music back then was East Coast more so influenced. So
hold up.
With that being said,
time out.
Okay, go ahead.
Time out.
Uh-oh.
Here's the deal about that. Yes and no. And here's what I'm gonna say: yes and no. Because, like, I'm in Toledo, Ohio, right? So, for anybody who don't know where that is, that's literally like 45 minutes south of Detroit, right? So, there was East Coast influence, but there was a whole lot of like West Coast influence too. I mean, you gotta understand, like, cause Detroit was there and everything else, and then hold on, my brain is going blank. And right up the way was Flint.
Mm-hmm.
Right up the way was Flint.
Top,
I was like, dirt. I was like, yeah. I was like, and you know what I'm saying? That was like MC Breed now. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no future in your frontin' and all that. Like, so there was a interesting mixture, at least, you know what I'm saying, growing up where I was at. So it was like you could kind of latch on to what you wanted to. You know, I was like, so I know, for, like I said, it's like for me, like there was East Coast stuff that I liked, but I can say this. Here, I'll put it to you like this, so you can kind of see like the dichotomy. When I was younger, and me and my mother and my father and all them like went to go visit my sister in Pennsylvania when I was younger, right? There were two cassettes that I was trying to find. One was Paperboy, because he had this song called Diddy that was like the hotness, like way back then. Paperboy, I think, is from Oakland, so it's like the 9 Yards. So I was looking for Paperboy, the 9 Yards, that album, and then I was looking for the single for Protect Your Neck from Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, so there's Oakland and there's Staten Island. There's Staten Island. And I was like soaking up all of it. So that's why I say yes and no, because there's going to be moments where there's things that I did where it's like aesthetically, this is definitively East Coast. But then there's things that I listened to and that I vibed with that were kind of like all over the place. Like, trust me, I'll let you like go further in asking the questions. So I go any further, it's like, especially on any musical taste, we're gonna spin out of control. So I will pause.
Okay. I got it wrote down. We
cool.
What's how did but I digress. I'm learning to use that. Yeah.
Awesome.
We're gonna get back to it.
Cool.
So, where or how did you learn to format what you were writing into spoken word, rather?
Okay. So, when I was younger, like specifically, let's say junior high and all that, I would write like different stories here and there, and I would write, maybe a few poems, but it was more like fun stuff, like kid stuff, like things like that, writing or drawing like comic books and those different things. But my format I kind of see it's there were some things I kind of just learned on my own, just watching. But then there's other things that I did have like big influences on me. You know, like oh man, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, so this is gonna be funny, and this is also going to be like, um, wow, that's some crazy different shit. So, like, also during that time, one of my favorite authors or people to read was actually Edgar Allan Poe. So, you know, like yeah, so it's like quote the Raven, nevermore, right? So there'll be moments at like at night where it was like you know, if I was reading or if I you know, had my mother read something, she would actually read like different like old school stories and everything else from like Edgar Allan Poe and everything else. Like when I was younger, I had this really ill book called The Mammoth Book of Zombies, right? Called The Mammoth Book of Zombies, and it had all these different like horror stories and poems and everything else. And I used to just, you know, love to read it or have somebody read it to me. But needless to say, the only reason why I brought up Edgar Allan Poe and everything else was because there was a certain rhythm that his work had that I liked. And it kind of caught on to me from there. And then, you know, just paying attention to, you know, the zeitgeist at the time as far as like actual rap, hip hop, and everything else. I kind of use those things to kind of I guess build my own way and my own voice, if that makes sense. You know, I was like, because later on down the line, you know, when I was writing raps, it was like I would do that. Like I would try and challenge myself to see if I could combine different styles. So it's like I want to write this verse, but I want to write this verse with with a combination of like DMX and Big Boy from Outkast or something like that. What does that sound like? how does that write? You know, so like yeah, I was like, so I would do those things where I'd be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I hear this beat or I hear this thing, and then, you know, I would just kind of try it from there. And over the course of the years, yeah, I kind of started to build, I guess you could say, my voice as far as like how I wanted to write, what rhythms I usually did. And then, you know, the longer it went, the more I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can do this without rhyming. You know, where it's like, hey, I want to write this piece, I'm going to do this part where I might rhyme, but I don't want to rhyme here, and I don't want to rhyme here, and then I'll bring it back here or whatnot. So, you know what I'm saying, it kind of built a nice free verse form for me. So I hope I answered your question. I feel like I kind of meandered, but
it's okay. That's what we do. We are
okay.
at, yeah. You can see the time too. Yeah. I
Okay.
should have warned you. This is probably gonna be about 2-3. But it's
Okay.
we gonna finish the childhood questions. Then we gonna go into college. Then we got some. I got some other interesting things, and I've wrote down a few.
Okay.
Not gonna ask that one. You said something that I think I may know what the answer is, but any
Okay.
favorite holidays in childhood and now as an adult?
Oh, yes. Yes. Halloween, then Christmas. Halloween, then Christmas. Cause again, like it's kinda like the artistry of it all. I know there were only two holidays that I would do things beforehand to prepare for. That was Halloween and Christmas. The reason why Halloween was because when I was younger, you know, me and my mother would make a thing out of it. So we'd be like, okay, well, what is it that you want to be for Halloween? We'd figure it out, and then we'd actually go to like Joanne Fabrics or anything else like that and actually get the pieces to build the outfit. So, in a strange way, I guess she was kind of preparing me for cosplay before that was a thing. So, I was like, so yeah. I was like, we would do that.
I
I was
didn't
like,
see
we
that
would do
coming, by
that.
the way.
Hey, like, I mean, I've never actually cosplayed, except, I guess you could say, except from when I was younger, because the way I was when I was younger, if there was a certain character that I wanted to be, and we made that costume, come Halloween, and I was in that costume, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was that character the whole night. I remember one time I was Darkwing Duck. I was like, if anybody remembers, I was like Darkwing Duck from Disney. Darkwing Duck was that dude, but Darkwing Duck also had like these different like catchphrases and everything else. And I remember I was Darkwing Duck that Halloween, and we went around to the houses, you know what I'm saying, doing getting our candy. At every single house, I had a different Darkwing Duck pun. Every single time I would say, like, I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am such and such and such. And I would just go because I was Darkwing Duck that night. So I was like, I was like, so I had to be in character. And then there was Christmas because again, the way I thought, you know, back in the day, you know, some people might still do it now, but you know, you remember like you were supposed to give like Santa like your Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that whole thing where they'd be like, hey, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to have like a Christmas list that you give to Santa so that Santa could, you know, get your toys together and all that, right? So, all right, so here's the thing, and here's what I thought when I was younger. I would used to, you know, they used to do that for me, and I would make my Christmas list, but I would turn in and mail my Christmas list by no later than June. Yes, the reason why, and this is me as a kid, the reason why is because I thought if I get my Christmas list in early, then Santa can't mess it up. Santa can get to it first. Not only can Santa get to it first, but if I get my Christmas list in early and we make it to Christmas, I have a track record of all the things that I have done. So there should be no reason why I shouldn't be able to get the things on this list. Like this.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, and again, like, it was funny. I actually think you know, knowing, you know, my parents and everything else and my mother for sure and all them, it's like I actually think I did them a huge favor because they could find stuff over the course of the year early. Mm-hmm. And not have to rush, me not knowing, but kind of knowing, because yeah, I was like I said, it was like I was like that kind of kid, be up, Christmas time, late at night or whatnot, trying to, trying to see, you know.
What you got?
Yeah, I was like trying to catch, what I'm saying, trying to see, and then next thing you know, it's like all of a sudden, like the Christmas presents are there, and then, I run upstairs, my parents look knocked out, and I'm like, damn, how'd they get in here? How did this happen? Like, I'd be downstairs, like in the den, like waiting, ready. I was like waiting and ready, but, I was like, but yeah, I was that, and for Halloween, for sure, it was like genuinely loved it. Genuinely loved the artistry of actually like, building your costumes and everything else. And again, like the '80s was wild, so I knew about all like the horror films and everything else and all that. Cause like my parents were like horror film buffs, but they never react. They never.
Don't do it. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, I will pause.
I came up with a question last night. I was watching something. I said I got to write this down.
All right, I'm gonna pause.
Leave it alone with the movies. Okay.
I'm gonna pause.
We gonna get to that.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, that's gonna be one. I'm gonna say that to the end. Favorite and hated subjects in school. Well, high school. We haven't moved on to
high school.
Yet.
Okay. I had a lot. As far as, so I'll put it like this. I really didn't have, I think, subjects that I thought I hated, but I did have subjects that I had one subject that I knew that I struggled in a little bit. And it wasn't that I hated it. I mean, it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was good with math, but I remember when I first started, I think I was in integrated math 2, like honors or something when I came in. I was like at my freshman year. I remember that was kind of like a struggle, but it was less a struggle of getting the math done, but it was more about, again, I was the only freshman in that room. Everybody else was sophomores, juniors, up and above. So just the whole environment kind of like threw me off. I found myself more in, this happens, when you're a kid and teenagers. I found myself more paying attention to the differences between myself and everybody else in the room, as opposed to what was happening on the actual chalkboard.
Yeah.
So there was that. But as far as like my favorite stuff, I mean, there pretty wasn't much that I did. I liked history. I definitely liked English. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we had different types of history. You know what I'm saying? Biology was fun. You know what I'm saying? Science, all that good stuff. Especially depending on the teacher. But what I tend to remember were different. I tend to remember different moments. Different moments in different subjects. So, like, case in point, I have two definitive, defining, like, English moments that came from two different teachers, like over my high school like career. One moment I remember was when one of my teachers Miss Ramsey had us read Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. And we read it and we talked about it. I kind of got it. I thought it was cool, but I really didn't get it until I got to college. Then I really knew. And then the other one was I had a teacher who talked to us about the idea of compartmentalized thinking. Interesting. This was in the English class, right? But he was a very big Henry David Thoreau slash Ralph Waldo Emerson existentialist type guy. You know what I'm saying? He was more like, one of them dudes where it was like free thinker, you know what I'm saying? Be yourself, all that goodness. But he used to talk about compartmentalized thinking, basically where we're kind of taught to place things in compartments. So you have science, and then you have art, and then you have math, and then you have history. All those are in their little compartments. So it teaches you to compartmentalize things, but it doesn't necessarily teach you how they connect. It doesn't necessarily teach you how art is also science and math. You know what I'm saying? Like all those different things. So he used to talk about that a lot, and I remembered that clearly because the way my thought process was, I've always liked to connect things that seemingly didn't connect, but they connected in my head. So once he talked about compartmentalized thinking, I was like, oh, I'm there. F that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to connect all these different things. And it actually helped me out a lot in college. Especially taking some of them classes and you know what I'm saying, writing them papers.
I've never been there. I have, but I haven't. My college days weren't.
Yeah. It's no, I mean, I dig it. It's it was my college days had a lot. It had a lot. I had a lot of really, really cool moments. And some not so cool.
Uh-oh.
But I had some really, 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 really cool, awesome life moments.
So before we get to college,
mm-hmm.
we got 2 more questions. Then
That's cool.
Yeah, 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? And this could be any, you could be a high school senior, just whatever. If it didn't change, or if it did.
Yeah. Okay, so it definitely did change. Okay, so when I was young, grade school young,
mm-hmm.
There were 3 things that I was fixated on. I either wanted to be a paleontologist, meaning that I want to look up dinosaur bones because I like dinosaurs. I wanted to be an astronaut of some sort because I like space. Or I wanted to be a jet pilot because I liked F-14 Tomcats, and that is Top Gun's fault. Yeah, because of Top Gun, yeah. Because I love the F-14 and all that. But later on down the line, I had more so kind of thought about being on stage for real. Kind of the artist side kind of start popping out. Because, I mean, that was things that I liked to do, too. I like to do those things. I liked doing plays, and I liked drawing and doing murals, and I liked the singing, and I liked the poetry, and I liked hell. And if you notice, like, I'm moving further and further, like, on from a kid to like high school and everything else. I had liked, you know, the rap ciphers and everything else. Like, those were things that I generally liked and loved to do. But by that time, I had a lot of grown people kind of almost impressing upon me what they thought I should do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I had a whole bunch of people tell me that I need to be a teacher. A whole bunch of people tell me that I should do something. I should be doing something in the church. All of those different things.
Did your school have a glee club?
A glee club?
Yes.
Not that I can remember. And if they did, they sure as hell didn't call it a glee club. Like, it was like that's all. Nah, I was like, I know we had I know my school had theater. I know they had choir. But a glee club? Nah.
So,
not that I can remember.
I asked because the TV show, and
Yeah.
clearly me and you both went to black schools. I had no idea what the hell a glee club was. And me, I'll never say I'm the smartest person in the room. If it's where I am down in life, if it's something I don't know, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
And I just went back and like, what is Glee Club? Like, and it's pretty much everything you've seen. And I asked because everything that you said was kind of what Glee Club is.
Well, see, it seemed like some Glee Club type stuff. Yeah, we didn't have that. And I was like, and it was one of those things too where it was kind of like, I was very much like do things like, I guess you could say, like, for myself, like, or anything like that, like I was kind of very much counterculture in that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a bigger dude too, so folks expected me to play football. That was one of the things that people also want to impress upon me. They're like, you should play football, yada yada. But I didn't want to play football. Football really wasn't my thing. But get to high school, my math teacher, he played golf. And he was like, you know what? Scott High School didn't have a golf team. So he was like, think about making starting a golf team. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. I was like, because, number one, I was like, this will be wild because everybody's expecting me to play football, and here I am playing golf. And number two, there was no golf team. So it was something completely new, completely different. And there's always been something or a part of me that have kind of always wanted to do that, to kind of like explore and to do something different, at least in my own way, as opposed to kind of like, you know, doing the things that people expect. Yeah.
Okay. That's different. So we graduate high school, and we pick a college.
Yep.
What college did you attend?
University of Cincinnati.
Why did we pick this place of all of America?
Okay. That will actually take me back into high school, into my junior and senior year. So, when we were looking for colleges, the University of Cincinnati had this program called Images of Color. Right? So basically, it was this program where all the kids, you know what I'm saying, whether they be black or you know what I'm saying, like other minorities or anything else, but mostly black,
Not
they'd
white.
come. Right. I was like, but mostly black. I was like, they'd come to this program to check out the school. So basically, it was a good, nice, good recruitment program, right? So I remember going and going down there for images of color and all that, and I remember it was kind of cool because I knew my mother was very, very big on me learning how to do things, you know, for myself and everything else. So we set up the plan and everything else, you know what I'm saying? I went Greyhound, cab to the campus. Boom. I'm there.
Yeah, that's
It's like
all right.
Yeah, it's like I'm there, right? So it was like, so yeah, like I go, and I remember my junior year, I really, really liked it. You know, met different people and everything else. But then it was my senior year, I decided to go again just to check it out. Because there was UC, and then I think I was thinking about Marquette. But I was like, I go again, and this is the thing that sold me. And this is gonna be so funny how this, but it sold me. At the time, they had student body government president. And at the time he was black, and he came to speak to us. And there were two things that they did. Number one, he spoke to us, and he talked about everything that was good, you know, they thought was cool about UC in Cincinnati. But then he also told us about everything they thought was bad about it. So yeah, he mentioned racism and all that good stuff. He mentioned you know what I'm saying, like possible Klan neo-Nazi rallies, all that good stuff, Cincinnati stuff, right? Like he was mentioning it, and he was like, yo, he was like, if you come here, these are things, you know what I'm saying, you'd have to be prepared for and everything else. And then they had this performance by this group, and I ended up, you know, meeting all of them, getting cool with all of them, like over the course of my time. But I don't think I've ever really told them that they were kind of the thing that tipped me over the edge to coming.
Are they still
I was like, yeah. I was like, nah. I think they're all separate, doing their own things. But it was they were like a spoken word group / clique, and they called themselves the 144,000. Right? I was like, and I remember, I was like, I remember, I believe it was Olafemi. She was up on stage. Obalaye, Kofi, IE, and I think Zebra Killer. These were the folks that were there, right? And
Wow.
they did this. They were like doing like their poetry or whatnot, but they ended up doing this thing called that they called a cipher. And basically, they were on stage and they all got in a circle, and they were like building a poem just from vibing from each other. But each one of them were like bringing their own style and their own twist to it. And I remember how amazing I thought that was. It was like from that point on, I was like from the fact that I think that the student body president was real enough to actually be real, and then I saw that happen in front of me, and then I was like, and then our my dang, my mind went blank, but the college students who we were supposed to be following, they were pretty cool too. And it was at that moment I was like, yeah, I think I might go here, because you know what I'm saying, it wasn't too far away from home where I couldn't get home, but it was just far away enough to be able to do my own thing, because it's like, okay, home I can walk to Michigan. Here I can walk to Kentucky. I am a state away. That's good enough. So yeah, I was like, those particular things really really kind of like pushed me there, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go here. If this is the type of stuff and the type of artistry and things that I'm seeing that they doing, the type of realness that's happening here, I'll accept it. I'll take it.
So, what was your major?
So, well, if we're gonna be honest, my major no longer exists.
Okay.
My major no longer exists. It's my major was ended up being African American Africana Studies. And but when I first got there, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do at the time. I just knew what my mother and them told me. They just told me, use this time to become a better person or a well-rounded individual. And I remembered that whole thing about compartmentalized thinking. And here is where I started to employ that in action, because I would try to strategically take my classes to be able to break that. So I would have like let's say if I took a European history class, and that European history class was set between the times of, like, let's say 1820 to 1920, I would see if I could take a Latin American history class during that same time, or take a Caribbean history class during that same time. If I took a sociology class, I would take a psychology class or a philosophy class on a similar track, because I knew eventually these things would cross over.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do, and this is why I say when it came down to writing my papers, like how it kind of helped, it was like I would be able to pull from one class and use it in another class. So it gave me kind of like a bigger picture. So what ended up happening is like there was a lot of the way I was taking my classes, I was kind of connecting the dots as to how I found myself wanting to connect the dots about how things worked. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna tell me what's happening in Europe, I need to know what was happening in Africa around this time, or I need to know, you know what I'm saying, why this thing moved the way this did. And I knew
So
I
you
wasn't
needed
going
to
to get
see
the full answer
the bigger
in that
picture.
one class. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's over here on the paper. What you just said that
Okay.
didn't make it over here, but it's we doing both. Do you belong? Does Hunter Prey belong to any group, any label? Or you signed with somebody?
Okay, we're talking about the music stuff.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So I was about to say, I was like, because when you went to college, I was like, are you asking if I
Yeah,
was like a
that was my
Greek or
fault.
something? I was like,
Then,
am I a
no.
Greek? I was like, no, nah, I didn't do that, but nah, like, yeah, pretty much, me and my partners that I met in at UC in Cincinnati decided to make our own.
Scratch that off. And who are
So
these
we,
people? Who are these
I was
people?
like, okay, so, um, these people are, it would have been, well, at the time, it was me, a friend of mine, Tim, also known as Ill Poetic, a friend of mine, Dean, who's also known as Zone, and then a friend of mine out of Columbus by the name of Mishan, who kind of yeah, he was kind of like our businessman, like behind the scenes and all that. But yeah, we kind of got together and decided to make our own. We still have it and still kind of release like our stuff, like kind of like under that label, you know. And I think a couple other projects from some other people and everything. And yeah, I was like, I know, I believe right now, Definition Music is still me, Ilpo, and Mishan.
Yeah. I know y'all.
Yeah. I was like, so yeah, I was like, essentially what happened was that one of the things that I can say, that if I can go down this route, one of the things I can say that going to UC did do was it introduced me to Cincinnati, and particularly the Cincinnati independent artist scene, and just you know, the art scene in Cincinnati in general. You know, because right across the way, you know what I'm saying, a little up the hill on Short Vine, there was this little club at the time called Top Cats, and every Wednesday, Top Cats would have freestyle battle Wednesdays, every Wednesday. And we would go, I was like, and we would go there and we'd watch people battle. Now, of course, you'd come out smelling like smoke, you know what I'm saying, throat burning for the next 2 days from all the smoke, but, you know what I'm saying, it was an experience. You know, so there was that. And then a little further down the I was like down the street, you know, there was the Greenwich Tavern, and the Greenwich Tavern was where like they'd have like a lot of like the jazz or the poetry stuff. and
Still there.
everything. Yeah, I was like, so there was a bunch of stuff, man, like around the campus and everything else. I was like, so much so that there were different things we would try and bring to the campus. You know what I'm saying? I remember we had a little show that we would put on campus called the Lyricist Lounge Show. That would be, it was like me, Ilpo, Zone, and my dude Pros. You know what I'm saying? Fatal Pros, man. Because, and pretty much we were all like, there was some moments in time where we were like all like roommates, like living off of campus and everything else. And we would come up with these different things, man. And we were coming up like, okay, well, we want to throw this show on campus. What we do, and we will add little stuff to it. Like I remember, we would do freestyle battles, but it wasn't just a freestyle battle. It was like we do tag team freestyle battles. So instead of like 1v1, it was 2v2. However y'all had y'all team set up, y'all do it. But it's 2v2. And we'll do that with like the poetry slams and stuff too, to kind of like switch it up. We're like, okay, we got team style, we got this style and everything else. And whoever won would be based on like, the crowd and all the good stuff. And it got good too. Like we had gotten it to the point where it was like we were packing out spots.
Yeah, I could get rid of this one. I don't need to spend any more. Now we're to the loose leaf piece of paper.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. That's fine. I can admit it. Wishful Podcast people, y'all don't like it? Fight me. I'll give you my address. I've
Okay.
learned to deal with how my brain is. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm on two different. So right now,
Mm-hmm.
how hard or how easy is it for you to balance your work life and home life? Work, not your day job. Work life meaning, spoken, like when, because you have to travel and stuff.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it can be hard. And I'll be real, like, especially right now, it's hard for me to answer that question and not think about the day job.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, because number one is like the day job is important. I was like, but also number two, I know there's a lot of energy that goes into that day job, especially when you're dealing with people who are who have been going through like who've been going through a lot, and who come to your space in a crisis. So a lot of times I find myself utilizing the very things that I would go out and perform or anything else, and trying to utilize some of those things with our clients as well. But that's taxing, so it takes energy, and sometimes I have to schedule around it. Same thing as far as with life, like with my wife and everything else. You know what I'm saying? She has a job, and I know there's moments where after her job, she like to chill. That's that. I was like, so there's moments where it's like, all right, well, if it's around here or anything else, or like a local show or a local performance or whatnot, if she is up to it, she'll come. If not, then I'm like, all right, I'll handle it and do what I need to do. I'm like, but yeah, I was like, it can be it can be hard, only because when you're trying to balance those things and you're trying to give your energy in different places, you definitely have to be able to know how to have one feed the other. Sometimes you can go too far left or too far right, and then you find yourself missing part of the things that help create you, or help you. You know what I'm saying? Do the things that you need to do as a complete person. And it's a balancing act. Like, it definitely is.
So, can it? You don't really have to go into too many details or anything, but
Okay.
can it pay the bills? Can it be a primary job source? You know, because clearly me and you both got day jobs.
Right. So, this is where I'm at right now. Is it a primary source of pay? No, but I am to the point where it pays for itself. So I've done enough with it where it can essentially pay for itself. So if I was like, if I need studio time, or if I need to do something, or if I need to buy something or anything else like that, I have made enough from it where I don't need to dip into my day money to do this.
Yes. Woo! Wistful Podcast. Y'all heard that. You heard it. Click the like, subscribe. Click something. I click your heels together. Click something, man. Yeah. I'm. People. I think a lot of people don't understand. Maybe they do, but maybe they don't. Because again, me and you, we're same age. We come from the pre-internet era. We come from cassette tapes, literal pen, pencil, composition books.
Yeah.
You had to do it. Now,
CDs, all that.
I could download Chat GPT and say I did that.
Yeah, I was like, that's the. I know. I was like, and that's the thing, and you know, you can actually have like AI songs or AI voices sing what you wrote or things like that. Yeah, all of that is out there. All that is out there. But I still think there's a genuineness to it. I was like that. I don't know if Chat GPT or AI would be able to replicate just yet. But yeah, I was like coming from, I guess you could say, coming from that time or anything else, it's like there's a different not idea, but I'd say philosophy sometimes when it comes down to the art, or when it comes down to like music and everything else. Like, as of right now, I think we're in one of the best moments for like artistic expression and everything else. Like, because everything is everywhere. So all the person has to do is pretty much look in their phone and find something. They could just put in a genre or whatever, and then your phone or whatever streaming service you have may end up finding a whole nother artist that may be similar to whatever it is that you liked or something like that, right? So you don't necessarily have to go through the trouble of like digging through crates, or You know what I'm saying? Seeing the CD and buying the CD, and then seeing if you like it after you bought it. You know, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. Unlike, but I can also say that while you do have access to a lot of music and songs and a diversity of people and everything else, which is great, there's also a saturation of it where it can also seem to make the song or the artistry more disposable because there's so much of it. You can just boom, boom. I was like, and not only that, I was like, from a consumer's perspective, like it can be, I can love a song and it can probably be more disposable to me because it's not like I had to put in work to get the song. I didn't have to go out to a store, buy the CD, buy the song, bring it back, put it in the thing. Yeah, I can just press the button. So I was like, while it's dope and it's easy access, I was like on the back end, it can also foster some unconscious beliefs and actions when it comes down to the artistry of people. I was like, if that makes sense. And, its importance or its, disposability.
Disposability.
Yeah, I was like, it's one of the reasons why everybody has to be in why everybody got to be in your face like all the time.
That's right. We gonna save this one. We gonna save it. There's gonna be another episode.
Okay.
Because it was something else me and you talked about, and you knew what it was, dealing with it's Lord.
I mean, it's cool. Like I said, it's cool. I'm like, if I was like, if you think this needs a part 2, I'm fine.
Oh, we don't worry. So, there go that Charlie horse. It's coming. Oh, Mr. Charlie horse, I ain't. Nope. So, we're gonna go to. You laughing at me? That's not funny. Oh, I thought you was laughing at me. I'm gonna sit him right up that way. So, I don't know where to begin. And this is why I say this needs to be a 2-part.
Okay.
And is it on this one? Because clearly, musical influences was one I put a pin in. We gonna go back to that one. That's not it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. So, you are a movie person, movie buff. Okay.
Somewhat, yeah.
No, ain't no somewhat. 2 questions.
Okay. Okay.
What is your favorite genre of movies, and when do you think was the best era of music? Not music. Movies.
Okay. The genre one is going to be tough.
Ooh. Okay.
The reason why this genre one is going to be tough is because there's so many different movies that I like. I tend to do movies kind of how I do music. I don't necessarily look at them in terms of genre. I kind of look at them in terms of eras.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's more time stamped. But I can say this. If you want to talk about, I guess, going down that road where you talk about like, because I believe you asked when were like the best movies or something like that.
Best era of
Best
movies.
era of
Yes.
movies.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh. 80s.
okay. So this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say.
Hmm?
If we're talking horror films, I'm probably going to lean more towards the 80s.
Yep.
The reason why I'm going to lean more towards the 80s, it has nothing to do with the special effects, but it has everything to do with, for whatever reason, there was an experimentation going on there during that time, especially since there was like VHS and all those other good things. And I was like, and you had like the beginning of like MTV and all that other good stuff. So everybody was just experimenting and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? I was like, but yeah, I was like, I think that was a good time. But I mean, not just for horror films. I mean, just in general. Like, there's certain cult classics that wouldn't be made today. Like, Barry Gordy's Last Dragon would never be made outside of anything other than the 80s.
Uh-oh.
That would never be made. I was like, that would never be made, right? I was like, but there are certain moments in time where there were different things that were like very, 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 very good. So like, case in point, like I also like fantasy movies, but there's no fantasy movie or anything that I've seen that had been better than the Lord of the Rings, and that was like early 2000s.
I still never seen that.
But then I was, well, gotta see it. I was like, but then if we're talking about if we're talking about comic book movies or things like that, yeah, it's gonna be the 2010s. It's going to be that era. Because if you consider about that era when it came down to movies based off like that came out that are just based off comic books, then I'm like, that's all the Marvel movies, that's the Dark Knight trilogy, that's all of that. That whole run was just now it's something that hadn't really been done. Now if we're talking I'm thinking, because now I'm moving into my action bag. Action block. And here's what I mean by action bag. Because there's action, but then there's action that are blockbusters. Mm-hmm. Not all action movies are blockbusters. But I do know action movies.
Very carefully.
No, I'm thinking. I was like, because there's kind of like a split jump, at least for me. Because you had that whole section of action movie kind of like in between that 10-year gap, I say more like 11 12 year, like from like 87 to like 98 99, ending particularly at the Matrix, and then the Matrix started a whole nother vibe of stuff, right? Oh, like, but you had those because you had, what I'm saying, you had those stars, you had Schwarzenegger and Stallone and all them different peoples, right? But there's kind of like, it's kind of in patches, because if we're talking about action or I guess reviving action and all other good stuff. Like them John Wick movies. Them John Wick movies stand with anything. Just off of just pure adulterated action and stunt work.
Fist to face. That's
Okay.
what you mean. Fist to face. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like just that alone. And then so let me see. Okay, now I am going into genres because my martial arts movies are kind of splattered across time. So
Yeah.
my martial arts movies are splattered across time, and then there's certain martial arts movies that I like for different reasons. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
we
but
can put that as separate. I understand. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like for different reasons. I'm like, but nah, man, like. And that's the thing. It's like I want to do everything justice, and I don't want to just lean on like on things that happened in my formative years. You know what I'm saying? I was like, 'cause that's usually what happens, and then it gets colored with nostalgic glasses and everything else, and I don't necessarily want to do that. I'm like, but I can say, I was like, as far as like different eras and things like that, no, there's been some really, really good ones. But yeah, I was like, but specifically like horror, I was like, there were a lot of tropes that started like in the 80s. But there are some newer ones like here and there where I'm like, okay, that is quite good and quite disturbing.
We could, man. My brain. I need to have my brain examined. It's like everything is, and it's a good thing. It needs to be talked about. Definitely, because we are starting down a rabbit hole. I wasn't trying to, but we kind of go down it. I like the 80s.
Yeah.
If I had to, I would say 80s only because I kind of look at I won't say it's where it began, but I kind of feel it was more so perfected. Meaning special effects and all of this other stuff, it wasn't there. So you had to make it look good. You had to.
Yeah, there were, I was like, everything wasn't CGI or made in the computer, so there had to be a level of practical effects. I was like, that needed to be done. Like, they need to be done. I'm like, and I get it. I was like, because like I said, it's like there are certain movies and things that came out during that time that they cannot make, or they've tried to remake and it didn't work. Because number one, they weren't experimental enough, and number two, they weren't given the green light to be raw enough to make it work for today. Case in point, RoboCop in the 80s was a great satire on capitalism and over policing and all kinds of stuff. Like, there's a lot of layers to that movie, but it's action packed and it is completely violent. Absolutely. Like this is a rated R movie. Like a RR. Hard R. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
RoboCop was a hard R movie, boy. I was like when they had Alex Murphy like in the warehouse before he became RoboCop. You know what I'm saying? And dude had the shotgun and he went right at his hand. Boom. Gone. Like, right? You can't do that today. That's why when you see the newest RoboCop, they made it PG-13. And it didn't work. It didn't work. Because I was like, because they weren't, because the market says PG-13 movies make more money in today's society, and they're not willing to risk a rated R and lose the money that they invested in this movie. So I was like, so, you know, you have that system in the background. Like I said, love this movie, but I can't see Ghostbusters being made today if it never existed then. Because it was kind of like a perfect storm of stuff. It was a perfect storm of comedians, a perfect storm of like those different things. You know what I'm saying? I was like, there's a lot of that like raw, you know, like rah stuff that happened. Like, now if we're, you know what I'm saying, and that's just not with movies. I was like, in general, like I can say this. Animation is definitely better today. Mm-hmm. But they don't have spots specifically geared towards kids anymore, because you can pretty much find anything on YouTube or wherever. You could kind of like individualize it, right? I was like, but yeah, back then they had whole committees made to make cartoons that A, had a message, B, was marketable for toys. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so yeah. I was like, so all those different slogans, all those different things. And yeah, there was a lot of experimenting happening during that. I don't think there's a lot of experimenting like that happening, at least in greater Hollywood, like right now. Like independent wise, for sure, but all that takes money. And
well, it's happening, but not in Hollywood, because
right.
You like Godzilla. What was the last one called? Is it Godzilla 1? Godzilla -1, I think.
Godzilla -1, yeah, which was kind of like it was more of a throwback to it. Like it wasn't the new like American one. It was a throwback to, I was like, to the Japanese,
and it's like that. Americans are so stuck on certain things and want to move and all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
But you have all of these independent people, not even independent, but just non-American. It's like, okay, hold on, slow down. You know, when you say
yeah, because Korea got some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
They got some amazing work. But
are you an anime person? Say no. Anime? You do anime? Don't put no words behind it. Just stop clearly. Damn
yes,
it, man. You know what?
Okay.
I'm
I'll ask you this question. I was like, because you asked me if anime. This how we gonna know? Like this how we gonna know how anime this really is?
Okay.
Dubbed or subbed?
Sir, have you watched my?
Dubbed or subbed?
I had to ask that question because I didn't. I know what it meant, but I didn't know if it was like a real big thing. Me,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm an anime person to where I'm gonna actively seek it out. I've Dragon Ball Z, and maybe one or two others, but a lot of people when you say the word or hear the word anime, they typically have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I watch these things, and they can sit and hold long conversations. I could tell you about Goku and certain things.
Yeah. Oh, nah, bro.
So,
I have been. Yeah, I was like, no, I was like, there's been certain things that influenced me. Like even back, even again as a kid, I remember on cable, the beginning of what was it, the sci-fi, that sci-fi channel.
don't say it.
And on Saturdays, they used to have this little section. Like back then, they called it like Japanimation, right? Japanimation Saturdays, and they played all these different and it wasn't like Dragon Ball Z. They played like Vampire Hunter D, Demon City Shinjuku, like Akira, Ninja Scroll. How they got away with that, I don't know. But Ninja Scroll, like they play all these ones where it's like, yo, this is like adult centered, like this is adult centered work, but it's animated. And I remember that like back then. So it's like, as far as like the dub and sub, the reason why I asked is because it's like nowadays when I watch anime or like anime series or things like that, I usually tend to like to watch them subtitled, because there's a certain context that you miss when it's dubbed, like a cultural context. Then here's where I'm about to get real nerdy. But Dragon Ball Z and like those movies back in the day, I actually like dubbed. And the reason why I like them dubbed is the same reason why I like
Kung Fu movies.
old 1970s Kung Fu movies dubbed. Same reason. So it's like, so yeah. Yeah, see? You on it.
I'm not. I'm gonna change the name of my channel. I'm gonna just call it the Rabbit Hole Express or something. Because like I said, it's me. I could come up with these questions, but it's just the fact that myself, I love to learn, and just rabbit hole. We need. I feel we need it. At least at our age, the younger generation, I don't know. They are younger. What is it? He was the longest one. I interviewed a guy named Brandon, and it's just super ironic and weird that he texted me tonight. He's like, when we recording again? But it's called the Brandon episode, and I had to chop it up. It's 3 hours and 5 minutes. Never he holds the record right now.
That's
and it's I had to try, because again, it's just me. It's an editing nightmare, and I'm sitting here looking at this like, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do this, but I figured it out. It's an ADHD part. It's an anime part, which is why I asked if you, because you can definitely go and watch it. And what you just said, I want to have both of y'all on, and we just go
okay.
with anime, because I learned some stuff, and he told me what he liked, and he went into it. I'm like, oh yeah, you yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to break it down into 5 parts, and that's kind of why I said like just rabbit hole. I can ask like surface level questions. Hey, your name is Hunter. Hunter Prey. This. You do this. But my brain is like, nah. We need to dig a lot more deeper and ask the questions that's not being asked. And
Gotcha.
that's just me. I have to ask the stuff that nobody's talking about, because it's like nowadays everything is just, we just gonna cut around the Matrix. We're not gonna talk about Trinity. We're not gonna talk about that. We just gonna go straight to Mr. Anderson and Mr. Agent Smith. That's it. There's no backstory. I need backstory. I got questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And see what? No, I get it. I was like, and I know the way my brain usually works is like, if something doesn't sit right, I tend to change it. Like to this day, like I am still I'm still disappointed with how the Matrix series ended. I'm still disappointed with Revolutions, because I thought there was a greater story that could have been told there, that they didn't. That they didn't. So spoiler alert for anybody who ain't seen the Matrix.
What? That came out in '03. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit after that.
Mm-hmm.
I know why. Because I was in college at the time, and I didn't have a life because I was in a band and I wasn't allowed to have a life, and I wound up seeing Revolutions like afterward. And somebody let me see the DVD. Like, you haven't seen this? I'm like, I didn't know they came out with it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. Did the
Yeah.
Matrix have a cartoon or something, or not a cartoon, but like a series maybe? I'm trying
The
to see.
Animatrix.
Maybe.
Yeah. They didn't have like a cartoon, but they had like what was called the Animatrix. So it's kind of like these anime shorts, which supposedly help fleshed out like a lot of the world and the story of what was going on in the Matrix.
I'm dropping everything. I'm still here. I just dropped I dropped one of these.
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah. We gonna stop because I see, and we yeah, man. Damn.
Okay. All right. We can
I
pause.
was gonna ask you. I I don't know if I
Yeah.
should. We talking about movie? Nope. I'm gonna do it. I'm.
Okay.
We had 2 hours 10 minutes. Yep. We gonna do
We
it.
here now. Okay. What you about to ask?
Favorite black director, movie director, or producer?
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I'm curious. I'm gonna see where you go with this. I'm so curious. Talk to
Okay.
me. What's okay?
So, this is what I'm going to say, and this is how I'm going to preface it. Right now, right now, Ryan Coogler is kind of like the Kendrick Lamar of that. But if we're talking about the most important But we're talking about the most important person to me, for me. It's going to be Spike for one movie.
Okay.
One movie. And that movie is Bamboozled. Here's how wild Bamboozled was. Spike Lee made a movie called Bamboozled, and that movie was so damn controversial that it was, I think, only in movie theaters for like 2 weeks. And it was gone. But that particular movie, I think, and you know, he did X, Do the Right Thing, all that other good stuff. But that movie, Bamboozled, that movie was something that I'll be honest, like part of my capstone was based off of was inspired by different elements of that movie. You looking it up, aren't you? You looking it up, aren't you?
I know I seen it. So Bamboozle came out in, let me go back. It came out September 18th, 2000. I was clearly, I didn't have a life. I was in a band. I was a freshman. I was crab. Well, I wasn't crab, but I was a freshman at Jackson State. I know I seen it. Where can I find this? It was, so the overview is a blistering satire of network television's pitfalls and prejudices. A humorous look at how race, ratings, and the pursuit of power lead to a television's writer's stunning rise and tragic downfall.
Yeah, and that's a vanilla ass take. It is a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, I need to see this again.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I know I seen it, but like you said, they took. Yeah, watch movie. Where can I find this? Oh, you got to pay for it. Oh yeah, they gonna make Tubi? It pay. Is it on Tubi? Apple TV $3.99, Fandango, Amazon Prime $4.29. Watch Bamboozled, and I see Tubi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it.
I don't know how.
It's a punch in the gut.
Yeah, I need to see this. It's a sad time.
It's a punch in the gut.
It's under comedy musical, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Rated R.
Yeah. Yeah, I want you to. Yeah, go watch that movie. I was like, and then I could come back and ask you about how they categorize that movie.
So it's definitely satire. I'll probably see like the first couple of minutes and it's gonna come back to me. I was watching, I don't even know what channel it was, but it was two black movies. What was the first one? I can't remember. The second movie was Sprung, and I'm like, no. The first movie was The Wash. I remember The Wash. I'm like, okay, because clearly musical people, music artists are in it, so I remember that. But then Sprung came out. Sprung came on.
Hold on. You talk about Wash, right? The remake of Car Wash.
Yeah. With George Wallace and Snoop and Dre and that one. Okay. But then Sprung came on, and I'm like, I remember this movie, and then started watching it, got maybe 45 minutes into it, and I'm like, I don't remember this. I know for a fact I've seen it, but it's and
Yeah.
I kind of hate
No,
this.
because
It's like a lot of our movies, a lot of our great movies, they were out and we remember them, but they're just not shown anymore.
yeah, no, they aren't. But then Sprung. But the thing about Sprung was that Sprung came out around the same time as what was the other one? Like the other one, it was like it was similar to Sprung,
Sprung came
but
out
it
in
was
'97.
yeah, and damn, what was it called?
How to Be a Player. Booty
Nah,
Call.
that's it. That's it.
Right there.
Yep. Oh, like that's it.
That's
Because
what it was.
I was like, because Sprung. I was like, even though they're different, Sprung and Booty Call are essentially the same movie.
And I once when you said that, and who came up with the song "I'm Sprung"? Neo, one of them. But when I seen it, I immediately thought Jamie Foxx
Right?
and Tommy
See?
Davidson.
See?
But that's this movie.
That's Booty Call.
Booty Call.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this movie like, who are they? I knew who they were, but I'm like, nah, this is different. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause Sprung got the light skinned dude in it.
I don't even know his name. And Tisha Campbell.
Yeah.
Is that him? Rusty? I don't know him. Joe Torre, Paula J. Parker, Tisha Campbell, John Witherspoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it had people in it, but
Yeah.
is that when the Jamie Foxx show came out? Was released? Damn, we showing our age, man. We can't be doing that.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey."
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, when I talk with people, I tend to kind of be all over the place. So usually, like, if I don't say anything or anything else like that, they usually be hella surprised. They usually be hella surprised. They be like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, hey."
Ryan Coogler.
Perpetually 32.
This is the other part of the movie question. Don't worry, I
Yeah.
still have stuff written down over here.
Okay.
Sinners, have you seen it?
Yes. Yes. Twice.
Ready? I'm about to give you your own rabbit hole. Ready?
Okay.
Set, go.
Just go. Sinners.
Just go.
Oh,
Go.
like I thought Sinners was a really really good movie. I thought Sinners had a lot of layers to it. I was like the way it discussed not just like how I'll consider this serendipitous. It wasn't just how he did the movie and the very historical things that he placed in the movie, especially down in Mississippi, where not just the black community, but also the Asian community down there and the white community, and how that all mixes together. But how certain things played out in the movie and how things were moving in the zeitgeist when the movie came out, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though I know there's no way he could make a play on this, to anybody that's watching this podcast, spoilers, 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 spoilers. Okay, So the fact that, I found it really, really wild where, at least for me, in kind of like the metaphor of it all, right? Even though I know that's not what he meant it for, it's just kind of how it took it because of where my brain was going at the time. The fact that they were all like, the vampires are outside, they're all hunkered in the barn, all the other good shit. I was like, and the one to actually call them in because of her fear and because of everything that was going on was the Asian lady. She was the one to call them in. The vampires come in and like wreck shop. And I remember going on in the zeitgeist during that whole time was this whole court case about affirmative action going to the Supreme Court, and what these folks were using to cut down affirmative action was a case brought up by an Asian student or something, I believe. Right? And it was like using Asians or using this minority to tear down what was built from us is just wild. But my brain made this interesting connection like during those moments. I was like, I'm not even gonna even discuss like the idea of the, I guess you could say, of the music thing. Oh my God, the music thing. Where it's like, not just that. I was like, but the weird connection between that and the Irish. How like the spoilers. I was like the vampire dude was Irish and he had dealt with his own issues of colonization. I was like, but and even coming into America, you know what I'm saying? I was like the Irish weren't originally considered white. They weren't. Just like the Italians weren't. But eventually they were considered white. But in order to become white, they kind of had to whitewash and let go of a lot of their ethnic diversity. I was like the thing about whiteness, and the thing about and to the other, and I guess to the other side you could say blackness, is that whiteness, in order to be white, you pretty much have to like assimilate completely, like capitulate to it. It's like it whitewashes all of it. You will be white before you're anything else. And because of that, you know what I'm saying, blackness is kind of seen in the same way. And seeing these different tropes in this movie, and it'd be like a freaking vampire movie is just amazing. Like the layer of discussing vampires is just as being a metaphor for just corporate capitalism. You know what I'm saying? I was like the idea that the vampires, even though they were the villains, they really weren't the real villains in the story. The real villains were coming in the daytime. That was the Klan, the folks who sat there and gave them that spot, right? I was like also the play. I was like the play on religion in the black community. I was like the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the Sammy's dad, talked about you know what I'm saying, either the devil coming to get you and everything else, and you need to be careful with those different things. And essentially he was correct, but ironically, the church and the Christianity that his father espoused could not and would not save him, because the same Christianity that he felt would save him is also the same religion that both the vampires and the Ku Klux Klan have, and will come and kill you regardless. So I was like, so that made that whole thing moot. But the actual shout out to actual, like, African spiritualities and how that kind of got brought up, like, through the years, through that time, and that dichotomy in terms of how you balance your blackness and your Africanness, and how you're balancing, I was like, you know what I'm saying, this, like, this life in America. I was like, in America, and how the music and the blues and how all those things were a respite for that, and how, you know what I'm saying, that spirituality, that realness, that connection is something that still pushes and drives culture till this day. There's a reason why hip hop became the biggest thing ever. There's a reason. I was like, why black people and black folks till this day, even though we don't buy it, because, you know, mostly, like, even though we don't buy it as much, like, let's say white people do or any other people do, it's like black folks were still the taste creators, still the gatekeepers of cool. Because anything that anybody usually thinks is cool or was cool or something like that, most likely a black person did it first, or, you know, this dance craze was done by a black person first on TikTok somewhere, and then it spread out or whatever. You know, I was like, so it is very much, you know, like, it is very much a thing. I was like, but how we use those talents to connect and to heal, as opposed to those talents being exploited by a corporatist capitalist system, and how that works is man, I'm gonna stop because I will keep. I was like, cause I'm gonna keep going, and it's gonna go into, like, I'm gonna end up telling the whole movie, at least from how I saw it, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I just know, I was like that. I really, really liked the movie. I really liked, like, how it was set up. I liked the fact that it is a product and it is a thing that I can watch and I can surmise different layers from it. Even if that might not have been something that Ryan Coogler was looking to do, it was something that was there that opened up my mind to even think that way in those connections. So I generally appreciate that. The only thing that I want to know is, even though I know it probably won't happen, I was like, and it's a one-off, I just want to know more about the Native Americans. That's it. 'Cause they came through, they was on his ass, and, you know what I'm saying, and that's the other thing too. I was like the fact that they were after him. You know, he showed up at them folks' house. He saw that Klan robe, and he knew as long as he appealed to these white folks' racism, he'd be able to get in. And they let him in, and the Native American folks said, "Hey, he's not who you think he is. Y'all need to." I was like, "Y'all need to not trust him." But because their viewpoint was about race and color,
they didn't see it. They wasn't listening.
Yeah, they let him in. And he got. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting. I was like, and it's interesting today how people. I was like, how, you know, people can be conned and can get their pockets, like, raped and get all of their rights and everything taken away simply because someone appeals to how they feel about race and other people.
The visual appearance.
Yeah. You know, you appeal to people's fear of others, and then what was? It's basically the statement. What was the statement? Who said it? Was it Lyndon B. Johnson or somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing, where it's like he basically said, if you could convince the lowest white man that they're better than the best black man, I was like, then they won't care, nor will they see you raping their pockets.
That's okay.
I know that's a paraphrase, but
yeah, we gonna find it. That's the thing about technology. I can type that in and it's gonna boop, pop it right up.
yeah,
Yeah. And Sinners was one of those movies. I don't know. I think it kind of depends on where it caught you in life. Because a lot of people say they didn't like it. They just said Sinners was a vampire movie. I went to the theater. I seen it, and of course, sometimes you have to catch it twice. I caught, I'd say maybe 60, 75%. And of course, because it was kind of slow, but even in its slowlessness, I'd say it that wrong.
Yeah, and the build.
Even the build up. It had purpose and reason behind it. And as you mentioned, the music. Me being a musician, a lot of that it went into it. And especially that one big scene inside of the what was it, a barn?
Inside the barn. House? Yeah, the whole Afro, went through the whole future, past, and present. Yeah. I was like, and the thing is that it's like, I think when people say it's a vampire movie, it was like, yeah, it is, but I think people expected like a traditional vampire movie. You know what I'm saying? Almost like, but it's like, no, like, there are elements of this movie that will make you think. Like, you have to think, and you have to be like immersed in that world. And that's the thing. I was like, and that's the thing about it. It's like that world was set up where it wasn't just the vampires that folks had to be afraid of. Like, the vampires were the least of these people's worries.
Yeah.
So I was like, so it was just
out picking cotton.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm like, and that's why for me I'm like, no, like there's a genuine, there's a deeper meaning to all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the story that Delta Slim told, while they were like riding past that chain gang about what happened to his boy. I'm like, nah, that's scary. I was like, that's scary. You know, I was like, that's the horror film. But there were like little things that I thought that was like, that I didn't pay attention to. Like little technical things that I saw them the second time, and I was like, oh, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like the reason why Smoke asked the one Klansman, I think, for a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? The whole reason why he asked him for a cigarette was because he couldn't roll his own cigarettes because his hands were too shaky. And Stack always rolled his cigarettes for him.
Yeah.
And it was so small a character trait that I didn't get it. I didn't see it until like the second time, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. I was like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, like all of that. You know, even okay, even this. I was like, it even made a commentary on the black community and the idea of passing back in the day. You know, those like those in the black community who could pass for white. And what I was like, and what, you know what I'm saying, and what they did or what they could do and all those different things. Like, yeah, like no, like it opens up a lot of conversation. It opens up a lot of conversation. So yeah.
I'm not.
All right. So
I'm not.
Is this where we at?
I'm trying. I'm
this where
trying.
we at?
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
This where we at? I feel like this is where we're at. I feel like this is where we're at.
I'm looking at it. Where we at? 2 minutes, 39 minutes. 2 hours.
2 hours, 39 minutes. Yep, and it's 11 o'clock.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 11:04. Yeah, we got work tomorrow. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna text you this. I'm gonna text it right now. And yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Wishful Podcast. That being said, 2 hours, 39 minutes. We have Mr. Hunter Prey here. This is how you need to know him. Don't worry about who he is personally. That ain't your business, unless he wants you to know. So again, Mr. Prey, where can people find you? Go ahead.
All right. So, I'm guessing this is gonna be part one. I was like, because I know we didn't get a chance to go into like the actual like music and movie and all other good stuff. I was like, I guess you could say the deeper like Hunter Prey side of it. But if you are interested and you want to find me, I was like, you can find me anywhere. If you just look up the name Huntor Prey that you see on the screen, HUNTORPREY, you will be able to find me. You will be able to find my music. Like, you'll be able to find my videos. You'll be able to find my work.
Okay. I'm sending this question to you. That's what.
Yep. Huntor Prey. I know some people tend to think it was like HUNTER, but it's OR.
I wish I knew how to put stuff. I probably could if I really.
And then we'll get to, yeah. And then part two. I guess part two I'll tell you the story about how that name came about.
Yeah, I'll be quiet. And you have logos and certain things that you have.
Yeah.
Certain visuals.
Yeah.
Is your cell phone near you?
Yes.
You don't have to look at it. Well, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Whenever it comes
Too
to
late.
it. I'm just curious.
It's already there.
I just want to see what your facial expression is. That's all. You don't have to say nothing. Okay. So part two.
Okay.
So you agree with what I just sent you? Part two.
Got you. Yeah, for sure. I was like, I have some thoughts on that. I was like, I also have thoughts on what would be a good product for them to do if those said people actually work together on a collaboration.
Why haven't
and I have
part two?
Yeah, and I have an idea. But
maybe it's in the works. We're not up in that. We not in the tax bracket yet. We not there.
yeah, for sure.
I just threw my pen. Okay. With that being said, Whistle Podcast. It's been nice. Love y'all. Me and Hunter, we going to bed because we got a day job.
For
And
sure,
we out.
For sure. All right. We'll be back.